All right, and the last section here of chapter 4, federalism and political participation. Federalism oftentimes allows citizens to get more involved in political issues. Look, if DC made all the decisions, right? That's 3,000 miles away. I can't be involved in political decisions. I can't drive out there and sit on a city council meeting or even a smaller, lesser like say the Canoga Park or a West Hills or Woodland Hills Council meeting. I couldn't do that. I couldn't really be involved. But because we have this federalist system, because we have different layers of government from our federal to our state to our cities and our counties, I can, in fact, show up at a city council meeting and I can, in fact, have my voice heard. I've never gone to a city council meeting, but I could theoretically, right? I could go to a school board meeting. You guys could too, and you could speak up on issues surrounding the school. I remember a few years ago that some of my students actually did go to a school board meeting and did stand up and say, look, we don't have a nurse at my school. We don't have this or that, and we should. So it allows more citizen participation. The fact that there's different layers of government, city councils, school boards, neighborhood councils. Citizens of a city can petition the city government to do local projects. Parks, right? Gosh, I don't like this about this park, or I think we need more parks here, and there's all of these kind of issues allow citizens to get themselves involved. I remember specifically that there was a school on Highlander in West Hills that was an elementary school, and then they were going to make it into a middle school that was connected to Elko. And the citizens petitioned it of that neighborhood. They said, we don't want Elko to take possession of this LAUSD property and to put a school there, and they shut it down. But if that decision was being made in DC, don't think their voices would have been heard. So federalism is a really important part of our government. In the picture I put up here, I put homelessness. Homelessness is an issue in California. My gosh, you guys, it was not like this when I was growing up. There weren't tents in our area where I grew up or here. And now it's a common thing to see. And this, we can, if we want to, get involved and make decisions about how what should happen to homeless people. There was a conversation yesterday in our meeting about how there's a homeless person who's been living at Taft. Okay. And apparently they kicked her off campus, and then she went to the parking lot, and then they kicked her out of the parking lot, and she went to the street, and now her stuff's sitting on the street, but she abandoned it. There's this whole story, okay, that I heard yesterday about this homeless person who's been staying at Taft during this crisis, and this coronavirus crisis has had a really interesting effect on the overall homeless situation. I can tell you that down the street from me, within walking distance, there's a hotel where homeless people have been staying. At Shoe Park, our governor gave a bunch of trailers, and there were homeless people staying there for a while, but they're not now. There were laws passed to help and temporarily relieve the homeless thing. There was also there was laws passed in LA about parking tickets, that there were no longer going to be parking tickets, which would help homeless people who oftentimes park their trailers or their campers and live out of it. In my neighborhood, I see that as well. But let me just tell you that in DC, they have no say over what we do in our cities when it comes to the homelessness situation. So another example of local politics and how we can get involved. And if you want to get out there and go to the LA City Council, you can go and tell them how you feel. And maybe they'll listen.